This segment is sponsored by Amazon Web Services. AI is making it easier than ever to start a business. Side hustles are turning into startups, and more first-time founders are launching companies without a technical background. But while AI is lowering barriers to entry, going from a great idea to a real company comes with challenges. Here to tell us how founders are navigating all of this is Deep Ubi, Global Head of Technology for Startups at Amazon Web Services. Welcome, great to see you.
Thanks, Elaine. Good to be here.
Yeah. So Deep, how is AI helping fuel this wave of startups we're seeing now?
Yeah, I would say that the primary reason that's happening is that the ability for the average individual to build software and write code has effectively been democratized. This used to be the sort of providence of software developers and people that had computer science degrees, but today, you can speak to an AI, you can bounce ideas off of it, and then you can have it basically build software for you, and it writes code wonderfully. Code is a syntax that's really well understood, and so the AIs are really, really fluent in how to do this. And so that's effectively made building software something that anyone with a really good idea can engage in, and I think that that's a wonderful thing.
Yeah, it is a wonderful thing. It's pretty amazing, too. And you don't necessarily have to be a technical person to create and manage a successful startup. But tell us how that is.
Yeah, well, the way I like to think about it, Elaine, is not so much that there are now technical people and non-technical people. The way I like to think about it is that we are all now technical. And I think that, again, these tools, because you speak to them in natural language, any individual that is creative, that has an idea that they have a lot of passion around, that they have a hypothesis or a thesis on a particular customer segment or a solution they want to build, that's really all you need. And so, that is something that I think any average individual on any given day probably has a dozen ideas that they want to basically see come to fruition. And so the average individual using one of these AIs can now basically exercise a lot of creativity and have these AIs like produce software and produce applications that they can put directly in the hands of customers.
Yeah, incredible. Deep, can you share some things that new founders often overlook that can actually hurt their chances of success?
Yeah, this is a good question, Elaine. This conundrum does still very much exist. When people get conviction in their ideas, they want to move really, really fast. And when you move fast, you're going to trade some things off. What we see typically is cost and security are kind of top of that list. The wonderful thing, again, I do want to tell you about AWS Startup Advisor, this new tool we launched. We have years and years and years of experience at AWS of giving prescriptive guidance to startups on how to build with security in mind, how to build while optimizing for cost. And again, with all that guidance, we've been able to bottle all that up into this new tool, this new AI we have that we call the AWS Startup Advisor. And the way to think about that is really think about it as an AWS expert that's sitting on your shoulder, that has all that resident knowledge and can guide you as you are ideating with it, as you are thinking about building software, so that some of those things don't come back to bite you in the future.
Yeah. And once you build your startup, Deep, how can AI help startups grow from investment and money output to incoming revenue even faster?
Yeah, this again goes back to this new ability, this new sort of compression cycle where the time to value for the average startup has been compressed to days and weeks. Taking an idea, refining the idea, getting conviction in the idea, and then ultimately taking that idea and having it manifest in some sort of tool or solution or software, that used to take quarters, months, years sometimes, and it used to also require a lot of different types of expertise. That time to value now has compressed to days and weeks. And because the time value compression, you can now get those ideas in the hands of your customers much sooner. You can get their feedback much sooner, and eventually get to a place where the customer is willing to pay you for that solution much sooner. And so, again, this all comes back to speed. And because we can move so much faster now, you can actually get customers to pay you for your idea much sooner than was historically possible.
Wow. For anyone that's listening right now and wants to learn more, where can they go for more information?
Yes, you will open your browser and you will go to startups.aws. And so you go to startups.aws, you will see the AWS Startup Advisor there. I would encourage you all to download it. I would encourage you all to start using it as your AWS expert on the shoulder, your co-founder on the shoulder. Bounce ideas off of it, ask it to challenge your ideas, refine your ideas, and have a great time building with it as well. Have it build the software that you want to see in the hands of customers and out in the world.
All right, thank you so much, Deep. I think you've inspired a lot of people.
Thanks, Elaine. Good to be here.
Yeah. For more information, go to startups.aws.